Welcome to Join the Raid. Today we have a special guest. We're going to talk about mental health. First, we're going to give her an introduction. We have Ghosty.
Hi.
It's a game show, just have
I
fun.
know. I am here. Do you want me to give my introduction?
Yeah, your introduction. We
Oh.
need to know who you are
Oh,
because
that's right.
you're
Okay.
you're brand new.
Okay. So y'all can call me Ghosty, but I am the Ghost Girl on Twitch. I do a lot of mental health conversations and check-ins with my followers and people in my Discord and in my community. I guess mainly because like my whole life, like I never had anybody that understood or really could like talk to about anything that like I was struggling with. And I don't want anybody else to ever feel, alone the way that I felt for many, many years. Too many. We're not going to say my age, but
We're not playing the guessing game today. Okay.
no, yeah, no, too many.
Well, that's a nice introduction. And today we're talking about mental health as a subject of our subject of topic and conversation. So, um, I I've dealt with a lot of struggles with mental health before. We haven't talked a lot about it, but you've dealt with some people that try to help every once in a while. Um, so I guess we'll start with myself. I am actually diagnosed schizophrenic. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and so I've had a lot of struggles most of my life, and it's always been challenging to find people that can either comprehend or understand just even a slight little bit of it.
Yeah.
So
Or
coming,
people that are even like willing to open up to try to understand
yeah,
what it entails.
yeah,
Because I
exactly,
think that in particular has a very negative kind of conversation around it. Schizophrenia, I think that a lot of people misunderstand what it actually is. So
yeah. So I dealt with a lot of judgment when was being open about it, and it kind of made me be more reclusive and isolate myself a lot to the
yeah.
point where I was self medicating the wrong way. And
uh,
yeah, I went down the drinking rabbit hole and to keep
that's not
everything,
good.
yeah, to keep everything quiet, and it worked for a while, and then I started getting extremely self-destructive with my life and choices, and even in judgment with people, and I ended up losing. I lost everything
Because of the drinking.
because of the drinking, because of not getting the right help,
Yeah.
and or being too late to get the right help. Actually,
Yeah. Do you have like the right help now? Are you on
yeah,
medication?
I'm on.
Okay,
I'm
good.
medicated now. I actually get an injection every 2 weeks on top of that now to
Oh,
help with
nice.
it. So, and they've asked me several times of, are you sure you don't do you want to like lower the dosage? It's like, no, I want to keep it right here. I want to make sure it works, and I want to get to that point of normal life again, and not feel like it's just always a cycle.
Yeah. And if it's not broken, don't fix it. That's what I always say.
And you're not
I know that
wrong.
I know that like a lot of psychiatrists and doctors in general, they really like to they'll like call it a starter dose, and then they'll either bump it up from there or lower it from there. And I think that at least in my experience, as soon as they start lowering it, it's like your body's just like nope, and then it's too late because it's normally like a month in between the visits, so by then
Yeah.
it's like, okay, now I've spent a whole month absolutely in torture in my own brain, and I had to wait an entire month just to get back on the same dose I was on. And I have not been on medication for years, but they did prescribe me medication. um I always forget to take it.
That's not a bad thing because
I have it, but I
there's a
don't
lot
take
of there's a lot of pros and cons to medication, and
it.
people always think of the cons or the pros instantaneously. They're like, well, this is going to be a one stop shop of fixing it, or is I don't want to give up everything else in my life to accommodate this one little change that might not even work.
Yeah, it might not even. Or or it's going to work and it's going to work too well and then you're going to be a zombie and you're just kind of be existing. And I know for a lot of people, especially a lot of people in my community, um, they've said that they actually like that feeling. And I think that it's a valid feeling because I know that whenever I'm medicated, I like to feel like a zombie. And I think that we feel that way because we're so used to feeling all of the emotions all at once. So feeling none of them is actually a nice change, but it's not a healthy thing to do long term. I think
Yeah.
short term it's a nice change when you're stuck in your head or dealing with everything, repeatedly and then you're like, okay, now I have no thoughts. That's a really nice feeling. It's a weird feeling, but it's a really nice feeling. But I don't think that it's sustainable. Like you can't feel like that, 10 years down the road. You can't be like that every day for 10 years. So I think that it's hard to find the right concoction of medication for everybody.
Yeah. I've been medicated for off and on medication. Let's just say that 3 or 4 years, and it was my last relationship that made me go get the most severe help I actually needed to get because I was
Oh,
kind of scared because I've been admitted before, and it's one of those feelings that I hate getting control taken away from me, especially when it's a choice that I can make myself. I've been admitted several times, and it wasn't like I was hurting myself. I wouldn't hurt anybody else. It was just I was manic, and
yeah.
I have my cycles, and I have this vicious cycle. But I have my cycles. I know what's going on. I isolate myself away from everyone else, and I keep to myself. And when they take you in there saying, "Hey, this is for your own good," but I've been dealing with this most of my life without you people.
Yeah. So it's like I mean, what's even for my own good anymore, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I'm
Because
on
if you're not hurting yourself or anybody else, it's just kind of like I understand the reasoning behind it, but I don't know. Like I feel like it's a free country and we shouldn't be keeping people, like if you don't actively admit yourself to it, then it's kind of like then why even force you to be there, right?
yeah, and I get it. It's helped lots of people before. I understand that, and I understand their mindset behind it. Of well, if we keep them here safe right now, then nothing bad's going to happen to him during this time we have him.
Right. But I understand because I think that they do it more of like a proactive instead of a reactive thing. I
Yeah,
do understand that, but I think that it probably feels like your freedoms are taken away, right?
yeah, a
Like,
whole lot.
yeah, and I think that that's the really unfortunate part about all of it is feeling like you're already. And I don't know how we can talk about that if you want, like how schizophrenia like affects you. But I personally, so my diagnosis is I have OCD, PTSD, and BPD, so borderline personality disorder.
Okay, I know what that
And
is.
I was misdiagnosed for years. I was like 10, and they diagnosed me with bipolar disorder. And it wasn't until I was 27. Oh my God, now we're telling my age. um, it wasn't until I was 27 when I went to a therapist and was like, I was dealing with a divorce and I was like, well, I probably need to get put back on medication. I was like, because, I'm really struggling right now. And I was like, and everything I'm doing in my own personal life, it's not working. And then she was like, oh, okay, well, what were you on previously? And I told her. And then she was like, okay, she's like, have you ever had like like, been formally diagnosed with this? Because I was only walking in there for the bipolar disorder. I didn't know about anything else. And she was like, you know, because you were 10. And I was like, honestly, I can't remember. I just remember like being 10 years old and being told I needed to have medication because I was like having mood swings, which I mean, again, is normal for a 10-year-old,
Yeah,
hormones, puberty. But at the same time, there really was something wrong with me. And I didn't know. And then they did all of this paperwork and testing. And then they were like, what I always felt like I had OCD, but nobody ever came out and because OCD in particular, as well as schizophrenia, is very much so misunderstood. A lot of people think like, oh, well, I really like things clean and organized, so I have OCD. That's not OCD
No.
whatsoever. That's not what it is. It's obsessive compulsive disorder. So it's not just wanting things clean and organized. It's okay, this pen is not where I like it to be, and now my whole day is thrown off and I'm having like an anxiety attack because this pen is no longer where I put it. Now that would be like that, but for me it's the thoughts. So I have like repetitive negative thoughts, like a broken record on repeat 24/7. And it's ruined most of my relationships with friends or family members because either one, I didn't know that I had it, or two, they didn't understand like that it's not me, it's the OCD. This is what I always love to say. I'm always like, it's not me. I'm like, it's not me. I'm like, it's not me. I don't I don't try to use it as a crutch, but I think sometimes there are moments where I feel like we can use our mental illness as a crutch because it's not our fault that we feel that way. It's a chemical imbalance in our brains. But I'm still learning personally about BPD. I'm still like fairly new to the realm of like what it is and how it affects me in particular.
Yeah.
But so I think that we're all always learning, and I feel like a lot of us are walking around with mental illness and we don't actually know that we are.
Oh, I completely agree with that statement in itself.
Yeah.
Um, like you were saying, it's not something that can we can't just turn it off
No,
at
you can't.
all.
No, even with medication, you can't.
Yeah, I have I have dissociation a lot, and it goes to that standpoint of hallucination and auditory hallucinations, and it's actually the past couple of days. If I'm going to be honest, I've seen something, and I had full conversations, and it shook me to the core when I realized it's like they're not here,
Oh,
and I have rescue meds, and I took my rescue meds once I realized it, and I laid in bed and felt absolutely useless, and realizing that I'm getting treatments for almost a year straight of this routine, and it's been helping. And why now?
yeah. Do you
And
feel like there's
there's
anything recent though?
yeah, and then I realized what it was is my one normalcy in my life wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
And we talked about this, and I try
Yeah.
not to bring them up on the podcast, but literally the kids, and it was they weren't there.
Yeah.
This Father's Day was the first Father's Day I have not seen them, or they're not being here.
Yeah, that's
So
tough.
it, and I didn't think, I said, hey, it's okay. I can make it through it. Made it through Father's Day. Um, went and had a nice dinner, relaxed, and went home. No, I went to a friend's house actually, and we went out because he knew I was having a bad day, because he knew that, hey, I don't have the kids right now. And we went out shooting on the range for hours on end. We did night shooting, everything, just to keep me from being by myself and isolated at home, when I didn't realize that's actually what I needed.
To be isolated at home.
No, to get out of my house, because I
Yeah.
had a feeling I was gonna spiral
Yeah.
a
I was
lot
going to say it
sooner.
wouldn't be good to isolate yourself. That's why I was like, I hope that you don't think that that would be good, but I'm glad that you do know it was better to be, it was good to be out. And I'm glad that you have a good friend in your corner that knows, and understands
Yeah,
how to
yeah,
handle it. That's the most important thing.
yeah. And like last night, I broke down last night, and I hate admitting this stuff so much.
No, you're good.
um,
Admit it.
I broke down last night, and my ex, she knows more about my mental health. She's been there through the struggles. She's been there through the ups downs when I'm trying to get help, and we bash heads all the time because we're both stubborn, and we both care about each other still. But she called me, and she asked me what's wrong, because
So she could tell.
Yeah, it's just from two text messages.
Yeah.
She's like, "What's wrong? You need to talk to me."
Yeah.
And I said, "Don't worry about it. I'm fine." I was laying in bed. I was just trying to get my head clear, and next thing I know, my phone's ringing, and she's like, "Don't shut me out. We said we'd talk about this stuff. If you need help, I'm here for you. I don't want you to go alone through this, and I don't want any of the negative outcomes that comes with it when you do spiral."
Yeah. And that's
And
the mother of the children,
yeah,
right?
that's some of the other children.
Yeah.
Like I said, we butt heads all the time, but when it comes down to it, she does care, and she's proven that over and over again. It's not that I think that she doesn't care. I just think that I'm very stubborn,
Yeah.
and when it comes to getting help and asking for help, that's my biggest downfall, because I feel like this burden is always on me, and it always will be on me, and no matter what I do to try and ease it or transition one way or the other, it's always gonna fall on me, and there's nothing anybody else can actually do to actually help that, because who knows, down the road, me and her end up in separate relationships, and it's gonna be one of those things. Like, I tell myself all the time, I don't really think I want to get in another relationship for a long time, because this woman was with me for five years and some change. She did all the learning, willingly did all the learning,
Yeah.
and look where we still ended up, of not being there, and so much stuff missing out on, and all the damage that my issues actually done and incorporated into not being a very very homey environment.
Yeah. For her and the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I I can admit that that's on me, and it's painful to admit that.
Yeah.
Um,
It is.
but I don't want to put anybody else through anything like that again, if that makes sense.
No, it does. 1000%. It does. No, I feel the same way. So you're good. I'm the same way. That's why my biggest advice is always take the time that you need to do your own self-reflection and figure out who you are. Like, who is Raider? Like, who are you outside of a relationship or outside of even your schizophrenia? Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
what do you enjoy? What because at the end of the day, like, we can be happy in relationships, and I'm gonna sound hypocritical here because I'm very dependent. I'm a very dependent person in a relationship. But I know that this is the right answer. So that's why I'm saying it, but I'm never going to take it. So we're going to just, I am the pot calling the kettle black here right now.
Okay.
Um, you have to be okay with yourself and be happy within yourself before you can go be happy with somebody else. Because if, like, let's say they go away, like my fiance just left for 3 weeks, I'm not
Okay.
happy within myself and I'm not okay with myself. So him being gone for 3 weeks, that was my happiness was gone. And I know that that's not the right way to live, and you can't live like that. So you have to be happy yourself, because God forbid something happens and that person is gone, then you just lost your happiness. So I think it's great that she's, understanding of you. And maybe I'm a little bit of a hopeless romantic, but I do believe that one day you'll find somebody who will also put in that work and will willingly do it and will want to be there. You just, I don't want to say you have to find the right person, because unfortunately we never actually know somebody, and it could take years until we actually know who somebody really is at the core of who they are. Um, but I think that just take time for yourself, take time for Raider, and, focus on you, focus on the kids, and focus on healing the parts of you that you might not even know are broken. And then if the right person comes along, then they're going to want to heal with you. And I think that that's the most important and most beautiful thing that you could end up finding one day, is another broken person that's just like, hi, I'm broken. And let's just work on ourselves together. And then it's like, okay. And then you both learn about each other, and then you would know, the same thing. But did your ex have mental illness as well? Like, did she have anything like that she was diagnosed with?
She dealt with some stuff. I'm not gonna put her
Yeah,
stuff out
no.
there. That's
No.
just
I
it
just didn't know if
because
she also had it. Yeah.
she had a lot of firsthand experiences dealing with her family and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
she kind of knew what was wrong with me.
Yeah.
And it's one of
Yeah.
those things I looked at her, I was like, why the hell didn't you say something before? When she did, but I didn't listen well enough, obviously.
Yeah.
I,
No,
I, I
I,
man
I,
carded that. I man carded that the whole way.
yeah, no, we're not going to put her business out there. I just wanted to know because I've noticed that the people that either have mental illness themselves or have dealt with like a parent or a guardian or a very close family member growing up that also dealt with significant mental illness issues, and I'm saying that as nicely as I can
I
because
understand.
I'm not dismissing depression um, at all. I do think that I think that the word depressed gets thrown around too often and too easily because
It,
clinically it's not depression unless it's a period of 2 weeks or more. And so that's why I'm saying that. That's the
yeah.
only reason I'm saying that, because I do know that, like, because at the end of the day, then that would mean is then everybody's suffering with depression, right?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Instead of that temporary 1 day, 2 day, couple hours thing,
Yeah.
it's
Like,
been
oh, this
so
happened and I'm so
normalized.
sad. Yeah,
It's been
it's
normalized to
not.
this day of it. Everybody, you take a picture. I'm so depressed, and
Hmm.
people think it's, oh, we gotta worry about all this, and even though in like a couple hours next day they're like, yeah, I'm good now.
I'm happy, I'm smiling, and it's like, okay, so you were sad, you had a moment of sadness, and that's normal. Those are normal emotions.
Yeah.
um and I always feel bad saying that because I feel like some people think that I'm like dismissing, and I'm not at all. I suffer with severe depression that'll knock me on my butt for like months, where I literally have I'm just a zombie and I'm just existing in the world, and I'm wanting to lay in bed until 2 o'clock in the afternoon crying. And it's not just a 1 day or even a 2 week. For me, it'll be like months on end where I'm just walking around and I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of existing, and but for me, I think because I've suffered with it for so many years, I think I mask it really well, which is, I guess, a good and a bad thing. But
Yeah.
I think that all of us learn to mask it really well. The ones that actually do suffer with it, the ones that don't are the ones that are just going to be like posting on Instagram. Oh, what was me? I've had depression today.
Yeah.
No, no, honey. No, honey girl. You are having a bad day, and that's fine and that's valid. And I think that we need to address, that as well. Like, we can all have bad days. I mean, we're not all rainbows and butterflies and unicorns and sunshine,
Yeah.
even if we don't suffer with something. And I try my best to be there for everybody, whether or not they have mental illness or maybe they're just having a bad damn day, and it's like, I'll be there and I'll listen to you and I'll talk to you about it, but I'll be happy for you if it's not depression and you can wake up the next day and be fine. Those are my favorite conversations because it makes me feel better to know that, like, okay, they're gonna be okay, and it's like I check up on my people every day. Well, you know this because you're
Yeah, I
in my
know.
server. So if they press the blue or the purple heart in there, like saying that, like, they're needing to reach out for support or things like that, um, I will make sure that I message them every day just to check in, just to make sure, because I mean, if you're pressing the blue or the purple heart on in my server, then that means that like it's not just a one day having a bad day thing. It's you're really like it's going on, and it's continuous, and it's not just going to fix itself by eating ice cream. You know, because I think most things could be fixed by just eating some dessert, but it can't always. And so for those people, I try my absolute best to be there. But I do think that a lot of people will always be like, I don't know how you do it, like, um, or my fiance will say that I'm hypocritical sometimes because I give great advice, but I very rarely take it.
That
um,
is that look, I get that all the damn time. Every opportunity I give a good advice, and anybody who hears me give this good advice sees me go through this whole process again. They're
hmm
like, "Didn't you just say this the other
Yep.
day?" I was
Yeah.
like, "Yo, don't judge me. Do as I
hmm
say, not as I do." This end of
Exactly.
story. Like, I'm gonna figure
Exactly.
out my hard way, like always, and I'm gonna be hard headed. That's what I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
do.
Oh, I told you I'm stubborn. I'm a Taurus and I'm Italian. It's a double-edged sword. It's stubborn.
Oh my
But
god, the
I
zodiac stuff.
yeah.
Oh lord.
But I do. So I think for me though, and a lot of people don't understand this, like a lot of people will come to me and they'll say like that, they also take a big emphasis on mental health, and that's good. Um but then I've also had other people come to me that have said that like they feel like out of everybody that they've met through like Twitch or social media, that they feel like I'm actually the one that really like backs it up, and like really like takes a different kind of approach to it. And I feel like that's like probably the biggest compliment. And I always get like I always want to cry whenever like somebody says that, because I'm always like, I feel like I wish that I want to be the kind of person like for my community and people in and around my life, like whether it be Twitch or like in my personal life. I want to be the kind of person that I need, you know
Yeah.
like the kind of friend that I always try to be like the kind of friend or the kind of person that like I would want to be friends with, and that I've never found but that I've always wanted. And for me, like a lot of people don't understand why I dedicate so much time and energy to it, but I suffer immensely with wanting to just throw in the towel. Like, goodness, oh my gosh, probably have called the hotline way too many times in my life. And I'm very grateful for the hotline. They have helped me so many times. Um, but for me, I think that doing this has actually given me purpose and like made me feel like I want to live, because I feel like I have a reason now. Like
Okay.
if I'm gone, who who's my community going to come to, like who's going to be there for them, who's going to replace the ghost girl, and so I think, and it sucks because there's many times where I'll go live on Twitch and feel like an hour prior I needed to call the hotline, and it's happened before. It happened once before a mental health stream,
Okay.
and I just brushed it away, and nobody had any clue that I was feeling like that. But as soon as my fiance says, as soon as I turn on the camera and I sit down in this chair, that it's like I'm fine, and I think it's because sitting down at the camera and turning on my OBS and putting start streaming, um, at that moment it's like, okay, now I have a purpose, and so I don't feel so low anymore. But I still do like struggle with, wanting to get up and wanting to get out of bed. And there's so many times where I'm like, well, maybe I'll just stream today and not put a face cam on so that nobody knows that I've been crying for like 7 hours, you know? But then those are just the days where I'll just cancel stream, and I feel bad because I feel like my community needs me, but I also feel like I struggle with taking care of myself as well. So That's why I'm sitting here telling you you need to take care of yourself, because you don't want to end up like me, Raider. You don't want to end up like me where you're so dependent on other people for your happiness, because it's not good. It's not good at all.
Look, one of my best friends in the world when I was in the military told me, and he said, you know what? I know the perfect way to describe you. I said, okay, what's that? Thinking he's gonna make a funny joke, anything like that, and he gets stone faced and serious and says, "You're an emotional leech." I'm like,
Oh.
looked at him and said, What did you just call me? He said,
Mhm.
"You're an emotional leech because you get happy because of other people, but you're never happy when you should be happy."
Yeah. Your happiness is relying on other people. So you're definitely an empath like me, for sure.
But the thing is,
100%.
I don't feel myself as empathetic. It goes in waves. It's not like I just feel it all the time. It's hard to describe because everybody's like, "You're really empathetic. You want to help people." I was like, "Yeah, I feel like I like helping people. I love helping people, honestly."
Mhm.
But when I'm going through my moods and everything like that, even though I want to be happy for somebody, I'm just like, eh, it's a day.
Yeah.
So, and I get more of those moods now than I do the empathetic, happy person moods.
But you might not realize that you're being empathetic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you do feel like your best friend said that you were an emotional leech, um, you might not be taking notice that it's actively affecting you, but at your core your subconscious might be being affected, you know? Like, I mean, there's definitely things like in our lives, like if you're surrounded by negative, what do they say, misery loves company?
Yeah, of course.
But unfortunately, I think that for empaths and people that are um, subconsciously empathetic, which I'm feeling like you're subconsciously empathetic, um, being around that misery can sometimes then in turn unfortunately make us miserable without us realizing that that's kind of what's making us miserable. you
I'm
know
feeling I'm feeling attacked.
I honestly, I sometimes at the end of a 4-hour mental health stream, um I'll just sit down, and because I'm an empath, like I won't realize that my happiness is now, like I'll feel good because I'll be like, okay, I really feel like I feel like I got through to somebody, and I feel like maybe they could breathe a little bit easier after even just opening up, like saying something out loud. Like I'm sure it probably felt great for you to sit here and say that you struggle with schizophrenia. You know what I mean? Like even just saying that out loud, like, hey, I have OCD, I have PTSD, I have borderline personality disorder. That almost many times will be a little tiny weight off of our shoulders. And if that's all you take out of it, then like fine. But there's also many times where, and I'm very grateful for it. I'm so happy that people feel so open with me and that they do feel like my community is a safe space, because I feel like that's the goal in my entire life, honestly. So when they say that, it makes me feel really good. But there are many times where they will um, they will open up to me, and because I am so empathetic, like I put myself so deeply in their shoes that then like I turn the camera off and all I can think about is, oh my gosh, like this person went through this and it's just so terrible. And and then it's like, and because I have OCD, then my brain is just repeating it and is like, okay, what can we do? Like what can we do to turn this around for them? And it's like then that's on my brain the whole day, and then it's like now I'm just like moping around the house because I'm like, crap, I'm like, people just their lives are really sad. And it's like it sucks sometimes. I don't know how paid therapists do it. I mean, they have to, I would imagine that they would have to not be empaths, because if you hear horrible crap all day and then you're like, I would like I would carry it around all day in my brain, and I would just be like repeating it like, man, the world is sad and scary. And it would drain me. It really would. But Um, yeah, I don't know. I think it's good, and I would hope that you feel better putting it out there. Now the world knows you have schizophrenia.
Yeah, it's I've been putting off saying it for since I started doing podcasting, and podcasting has become more of a therapeutic thing for me more than anything else. I enjoy it. I love doing this. I really do.
Yeah,
Um, I do. I take time for it. I write out everything for it. This was the episode I said no. We're gonna go through this raw and just see how
it's
this
just
goes. And
full
then
send.
yeah, full send, and we're gonna see how this goes and see where it lands.
Well, hopefully we land on the moon.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
always. So, uh,
How do you, let me ask you real quick
okay.
so that I don't cut you off later. How do you feel? Because I'm very genuinely curious about this. How do you feel like schizophrenia affects you the most in your everyday life? Because I feel like your answer might help some people. This is why I'm asking.
For me, it's honestly interpersonal relationships in all forms and fashions. Because I can have 15 million things going through my head, and like two of them be actually real,
Mm,
and I'll be having a conversation with somebody, and I'm gone. I'm just gone. Uh,
yeah.
it happened. It happened a couple days ago. I was having a conversation with my ex, and I was there. I was involved in this conversation. It was important. Blanked, started seeing something or hearing something, and I was gone to the point.
Yeah.
I get back, and I just look at her face, and she's just worried. And and she looks at me and like, "What's wrong?" And I'm just I'm looking fucking terrified. Like I just
Yeah.
saw the worst thing in the world. Because that was the point I started realizing, like, okay, I need to contact my doctors. We need to up my doses because nothing's working normal now.
Yeah.
And I was shaking, couldn't couldn't get couldn't verbalize the right way. It was one of those times of I realized I have zero control over this way of living just because, and it took all 5 minutes for it just to come to realization and struggle. And I hate that feeling so much. And that's why I tend to isolate myself more, because if I don't interact with a lot of people, then I'm not going to get judged so harshly
Yeah. That's true. That's
because
a feeling.
I went to the grocery store. I'll be at the grocery store for 2 hours and go get five things.
Hmm.
And
I mean, I do it too, though, but just because, I like to, I call the grocery store vacation when you're a mom, but continue.
yeah, see, mine's
I
not.
call it my vacation.
See, mine's not that way. It goes. I go there for a couple simple things just to make it. Hey, I just need food for this. I need to make it this day. Then I'm good, and I do that. I lose time.
Mm,
So, and I just realized, and I get back home like, oh, cool. I got all my stuff. I'm happy. I went outside today. I went and dealt with people today. Get home. I look at my phone,
it's like 2 hours.
and it just comes to realization of what this isn't real. This is real life for me, and it's not. It just it tears you apart without you even realizing it's tearing you apart anymore. And
Yeah.
it becomes to be normalized, and everyone starts to try to treat you well as much as they can, but it starts taking a toll on them too, because there's only so much people have, so much patience people have, so much time in a day people have, and then you start looking at it and you start seeing it, and you just
I know my
feel,
fiance is listening to this.
oh, that's awesome.
He's probably like, because he's definitely going to listen to this later on. So, hi, baby. I know he's turning that part up. Continue. That's me.
But, um,
I drained that poor man. I know it.
yeah, and you look at them, you go for that feeling of, oh, they understand me. You go for that look, and then they have, and it's not the look of we're here for you. It's the look of I'm gonna put you in a fucking padded room,
Yeah, for
or it's
sure.
I'm more concerned about you than anything else, and you start to want to pull away
Hmm.
really fast. Not just a whole lot. I'm gonna step back. No, I'm fucking gone.
Yeah, I'm
Then
gone.
we're not gonna deal with this problem anymore. And then next time it happens, you won't feel so bad.
Yeah.
So
Dude, you
okay, I
sound
guess
just like me. You
yeah,
sound just like me.
I
I
guess I
tell
guess
him
you're.
all the time, I'm just going to pack my bags. I'm like, fine. I'm like, if I make you that miserable, then I'm just going to pack my bags and leave. And it's not like I want to leave him. I love him.
Yeah,
I love him more than anything in the whole world. But I think that for me, I love him so much that that's why I say I'm going to pack my bags.
because you don't want
Because,
him to deal with it or just
yeah,
have this strain on him, and
yeah.
that's
Because you can see it on their face. Like their whole face will just change. And then you're just like, holy shit, I just ruined his day.
exactly.
And I'm like, and then that makes you feel worse because you're already like in your own head and struggling and suffering. And then you open up to the person you care most about, and then you drain the whole life out of them. And then you're like, wow, I really am a piece of shit, aren't I? And then you're
Yeah,
like, well, I guess I'll just go now because I'm ruining
exactly.
everything. I'm
That
so glad that I'm not the only one. Oh my gosh, I think you're
you're
the first person I've ever met that feels the same damn way because I feel the same way. I
I,
always am just like, I'm leaving. And I'm like, but I'm not actually leaving. I'm
yeah.
just in that moment. I'm like, and I always call it the fight or flight, and I just always feel like, but the flight isn't because I'm unhappy with him or unhappy with the situation. I'm unhappy with my mental health and how it's affecting the situation. And then I always feel like, well, you would just be better off without me, because he would. And I know he would. But I also know that there is not a damn soul in this world that will ever, 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 ever love him the way that I love him. And I know it. And so I try to hold on to that. And I'm like, nope. I'm like, no, you don't. I'm like, no, just because you're crazy doesn't mean, and I always, I always feel like people get so offended by the word crazy, but I'm like, I'm very open. Like, I've got mental illness. I'm crazy. It's okay. I feel like just full send me right in, you know? I have to own it.
and
Otherwise, you're going to be disappointed.
those people that get offended by the word crazy, I feel like they have. I'm not calling anybody out before I start this right now. Not calling anybody out.
Yeah,
But if you get
you're
offended by
good.
somebody calling you crazy, I want you to stop for a second, take a look at yourself, and think about all the actions that led up to them calling you crazy,
Yeah.
and see how they play out. Because they made sense to you, and you write them down first. Then
Yeah.
put somebody else in that situation. Are they logical? Do they line up?
Hmm.
If they don't, you got that name for a damn reason.
Yeah. I
And
don't like the word psycho, though. Um, that's just me personally. That's like a trigger word for me. I understand whenever like somebody will call me like, oh my god, you're being a psycho right now. Like, I understand why, but for me it's a trigger word. But otherwise, I mean, it's fine. I personally like teach their own, because in the same sense, it's the same thing.
yeah,
Psycho, crazy, you're being insane, you know. Okay, what did you, like my fiance, like if he will say something like that to me, and I'll be like, no, you have to apologize to me because that was really mean to say. Okay, well, he damn sure should still apologize because it is still a mean thing to say, but he will hold me accountable. And he
yeah.
does exactly what you said. And he'll be like, okay, what did you just do? And I'm like, but, and I'm like, it's not my fault. My brain went there. And it's
Yeah.
not. And it's not. And I try to remind him of that often because he doesn't struggle the same way that I do. Um, so I try to remind him often, like, I'll just end up just breaking down crying and being like, I don't want to feel this way. So like I understand that you don't want to deal with it. And he's like, well, how do you think it feels on my end? And then the empath in me is like, I'm a piece of shit. And I'm like, I know how it feels on you and it doesn't feel good. But then the other part of me is always like, it doesn't feel good on this end either, dude. You know, and I'm sure you feel the same way because it's like you sit there and you feel bad, and that's good. That means that you're a good person because there's many people that have no shame. Like they will just go ahead and be lunatics and know that they're being absolutely off the handle, like and know it and know that they're just full sending it
And
and they won't care.
and
They're
that
just
right
like they don't
there,
care.
it's not that they don't care. Sometimes you got to think about it. Some people are actually literally psychotic, so they don't see
Yeah.
it as a problem. And
Yeah.
that's not, and you can blame them all you want to, but if they don't see it, if they don't realize it,
Yeah.
and this is another thing that I hate. I will say the word hate. I hate about myself
Yeah, you
because
can
when
say
I
hate.
get to those points, I realize it days, months, a year later, and I feel like the biggest piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I just look at it as like, how the fuck did these people deal with me?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm
And
the same way.
and I look
I
at
get it.
them, I was like, yo, what the fuck's wrong with y'all?
Yeah, for real.
Like,
That's why I say to him all the time whenever he's like, you did this and you did that and you're crazy. And I'm just like, well, you're with me. So there has to be like, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you still here?
exactly.
I only said that mainly because I've dealt with exes in the past that legitimately do not care. Legitimately. Like would just do horrific and mean and just genuinely not care. I mean, like I would sit there and say like, so you're not even going to apologize? You know? Or like why don't you take into consideration the fact that like or the, like and I think that a lot of it the blaming and being like okay, well, you know, I only did this because you did this, blah, blah, blah. I feel like that's a very narcissistic thing to do because it's like at the end of the day, we all need to take ownership.
Yes,
And I know that
100%.
I struggle with it. It might take me a little bit sometimes to be like, okay, you know, I did this and I was wrong. But
I
I'll eventually get there. I will. It might just take me a minute to be like, you know, okay, like, all right, so I did do a little crazy things, but here we're here now. We're good. We're normal. We're safe now. And but I think I've just I don't know, I've just been with people that like every day would just full send it and just straight up not care and never care and then just keep full sending it every day and I'm just like I don't deserve that, you know, because all I did was open my eyes today and you're not taking accountability for the fact that there's something that's not clicking in your brain and you know and it's like at one point because it's not just that it's not safe for other people in that person's life whether it be a relationship or a friendship or you know an acquaintance it's also not safe for them
yeah,
to
it's not.
to not sit back at the end of the day and be like damn I smashed a hole in my wall why did I do that? You know? And it's like, well, why don't we get to the root cause of why we put a hole in the wall? And there are. I don't know, maybe I just have a bad picker. But the men I've dated in the past, they will say, we'll put a hole in the wall and leave it for years and just leave it. And then
Wait,
I'm like, well, why did you put the hole in the wall? And then they're like, because of you. And I'm like, well, what did I do? Like, tell me what I
oh
did,
my
you know? And
gosh.
I'm like, a normal person isn't just walking around smashing holes in walls. And I'm like, so why don't we talk about the fact that we put holes in the wall? Hello. And
See,
they're like, no, we're just going to pretend like it was all your fault. And I'm like, I didn't put the hole in the wall. My fist did not touch it.
see, when I get to that angry point like that, and I'm gonna hit something. I go outside. I find
Mm-hmm.
something old,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, you know what? This is going in the trash anyways. I'm gonna fucking break this and throw it in the damn trash.
Yes.
And everybody's like, that's destructive. It's like, you know what?
Who cares?
Think about think about it from my standpoint. Someone that holds a lot in instantaneously and everything like that, and I want to rage. I
Hmm.
want to rage so badly to the point I want to burn. I just want to burn everything fucking down. I
Yeah.
can't do that though.
Yeah, you can't.
So having a minute to just destroy something, throw it
Hmm.
away, keep going about life. Yeah, and then I get told, "Well, that's just having a tantrum." I was like, "You know what?
No,
It could be a tantrum, but guess what? At least it's controlled, and nobody got fucking hurt."
that exactly that. And I'm the same way because I do the same thing. Whether it be like I'll rip something like let's say like this, right?
Yeah,
Just something like if it's something nearby. I've actually torn apart an entire notebook before. I didn't hurt anybody. I didn't break anything, but it was a notebook sitting in front of me and I just went and I ripped all of the pages out of the notebook, and that was just me in like a fit of rage, an uncontrollable like fit of rage. And I know people are probably like thinking and listening to this and they're like, Ghosty doesn't rage.
yeah,
And I mean, they literally redeem channel points to try to make me rage. I have it. It's bottled up inside of me though, because I
yeah,
try to like simmer it down so that moments like where people don't see it, where I'm just like, and unfortunately, obviously, people in my life will see. I'll just like be angry and like act and meet like, but it's very rare. And I think you're probably a lot like me, where you'll let it build up on your shoulders for quite a while, right? Before
yeah,
you're like, all right, I'm gonna go. I need to go smash something.
yeah.
I'm the same way. It takes a lot, and people don't ever believe me whenever I'm like, no, I really am not quick to anger. I'm not. I'm really not. It's just it takes time and holding it in and bottling it up, and then you're just like, I'm gonna rip this whole notebook apart, or I'm gonna go smash this old plate
Yeah.
for no reason. But I think that the people that say like, oh, that's violence and that's anger and like, I've actually talked about it before on my streams that it's not. And like you said, if it's controlled, then it's controlled, and then I think that there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's healthy, and you're not hurting yourself, you're not hurting anybody else, and I think it's a healthy way to do it.
Oh
Go
yeah.
break that old coffee mug. Who cares?
And that's why I tell people
just
all the
don't
time,
hurt
it's
the
like,
just don't hurt the birds and everything in the process, please.
I tell people, it's like, hey, you know those rooms that you get to smash, a smashing room, everything like that. Go there one day when you're in a bad mood, and
Yeah,
just go and just think about every single thing that
that
you
bothers you.
that you don't like, things that you get borderline hate, and just take it out there, and just take a deep breath when you're done, and walk out. Tell me there's
Hmm.
not a difference.
There is. There definitely is.
And
And there's nothing wrong with it.
there's one 10 minutes down the road from my house. And I was like, I should go do that. And I tell
It's
myself,
expensive though, right?
it's $20 to $40. It's not that bad.
I'm moving where you are. I don't even have one near me. I want to do this so bad.
Oh my lord. They then there's some people that there's like a traveling one too. Because you're on East Coast, so there's a traveling one around the East Coast one. So I figure out what his name was called. I'll let you know, and then you can be like, oh, it's here close to me. I'm going to it.
Dude, I need to do it so bad.
Yeah.
I need to just like there's another good thing as well, and I'll give this advice, and I've definitely done this. So this is not advice that I'm not taking. Um, I did this on a mountain in Alaska with my children. When I moved there, I moved there on a whim. I wrote down a lot of the like thoughts that I had on a daily basis, especially like when I moved to Alaska. My PTSD was really, really, really bad and really apparent and
Okay.
awful. Um, and I wrote down all of the things about those, like that moment that like caused the PTSD, like, and everything around it. That's a different story that I probably will never talk about. But I wrote it all down, and then I took it to the top of the mountain and I just burnt the paper. And it wasn't an anger release, it was more of like an emotional release just to write it down. So I will say that that's another really helpful way to kind of like get things down, journal it out, and then
Um,
burn the damn journal. There's actually a book
yeah.
called The Burn Journal. I've had it 4 times. I bought it. Raider, I bought it 4 times. And do you want to know how many times I've written in it?
How many? Oh my lord, you
I
have what
have it.
you have it, and
It's sitting on my nightstand right now, and I've never written it.
this this
I
this
bought it in
is
every color. I bought it in every color almost.
look.
You don't know how many
Here's
colors.
your assignment. Okay, here's your homework. Write one thing that upsets you in that book at least.
I
That's all
know.
I got. Just
I
one
know.
time
I
before
know.
the end of the year. That way you
I'm
have
going
time.
to.
That way you have plenty of time. You can't say there's a big time crunch. It's on your. You said it's right there on your nightstand, so you get to see it every night.
I know. I know. I literally look at it and I'm always like, I haven't done this. And I've had it for over a year. And this is my newest one, but this is my fourth one that I've bought. This one's in pink because it's the only one Target had. I used to buy them off of Amazon.
Oh
And I
Lord.
bought it with the hopes that it would help. And then I think I opened it one time and it was like, I just think I just need a journal. That's all. Like I don't think I need something like that. Like I think like what you're describing, like I have got this sitting here. I've got two journals sitting right here. Actually, I've got three. My bad. I'm lying to you. I've got two planners. I've got two planners and a journal on my desk. And I think I just need one like this where like I'm just going to write it down and write down my thoughts and then burn it.
Yeah.
I think that's what I need cuz the burn book was like it's good in theory, but for somebody like me like with like sporadic thoughts, it was too like, oh, like let's look back at such and such, and it's like, well, that's not what has me upset right now, so let me write out what has me upset right now somewhere else. So I think I need like just something like this where I just get a book. I think you're right. I think I need to do it, but I'll definitely try to do the burn book. I'll try because I advertise it all the time. I advertise that damn book.
yeah,
They need to give me royalties or something for it.
you can't advertise it if you're not going to use it. It
But
doesn't work that way.
it helps other people.
It
It
helps other
helps them.
people,
Yes.
but you got to help yourself too. Remember that thing, like taking that advice and not doing a single thing about
I
it ourselves.
know.
Yeah, we both need to do
I
that.
know. Yeah. Dude, now that I know, you listen, you're going to have me sliding in your DMs too. I'm going to be checking on you,
Yeah,
making
that's
sure you're okay.
yeah. I'm bad at replying. Just let you know that.
Oh, I'm bad too, honestly. Like, unless, and I always feel bad and I always apologize to people because I'm always like,
Yeah, you're overly apologetic, and that's because of I understand. I
my
do
trauma
understand. Yeah,
response.
exactly, and that's
Yeah.
why I just try not to say anything. I just say, okay. I say
Yeah.
it's fine. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Quit apologizing. All right, quit apologizing. All right, quit apologizing. All right. She says sorry one more time. I swear to God. Then you don't reply. It's like,
I'm going
oh,
to get in the
cool. We're
car,
good. We're
kick
good.
her little butt.
We're good. I'm calling. I'm calling your fiance.
Oh my gosh. He says it all the time too. He's always like, you're sorry. You don't even know what you're sorry for. And I'm like, I'm sorry for everything. And then the one day I finally just looked at him and I was like, I'm sorry that I exist. And he was like, well, that's depressing. And he just gave me a hug and he was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, I don't know. I'm just sorry for life.
See that, and that right there is the good responses that you love to get. Like
Yeah.
no matter
I,
what,
I
even though he
know.
was right, that's really depressing. That just like hit a spot. Like man, I'm pretty sure I said that before.
Yeah. And and I always like I said, I always feel so bad because he doesn't struggle the way I do. So sometimes like, whenever we first met and like he like realized that I'm very difficult to love, he was like, just teach me how to love you properly. And, you know, it's been a year and a half and I'm still teaching him. And
Look. I'm gonna say. I'm gonna
I
say
don't think we'll
this.
ever
I'm gonna.
stop teaching him.
I'm gonna say this. Okay, us as men, we learn things the hard way,
Yeah.
and you could give it to us gift wrapped, word for word instructions, step by step. We still will learn everything the hard way.
You're going to learn it the IKEA way. Those impossible directions and instructions.
If it works, it works. That it doesn't matter the process of it. That's one of those things, of men versus women thing of the process, and we learn things one way very well.
Mhm.
Usually
You know,
involves the women getting mad, but again, or upset, or frustrated, or
I
smacking
know.
us in the back of the head because we just do something that you just can't understand. Like, this made absolutely no sense at all, and you can't even make it make sense.
I mean, like that's why I say I'm just going to teach him for the rest of my life. I'm just going to keep teaching him.
Well,
Because I mean,
everything
he'll
evolves.
probably never learn just because y'all men are hard headed. But I mean, at least I can remind him every day, and then like at least it's like the Notebook. I'll just remind him every day.
You don't even use a notebook.
The Notebook,
Oh,
the
that
book, and the
movie.
movie. That movie.
Oh.
When she
Oh,
she forgets, and then he has to remind her every day.
admittance here. I've never seen it.
Okay, your homework is to go watch that movie.
I don't want to watch that movie.
No, I don't like rom-coms and I don't like romance movies in general at all. I am
Sorry, I love rom coms because they are
I don't.
hilarious.
I don't.
Yeah,
I am a horror fan through and through, like through and through.
I love horror
Um
movies. I love
yeah,
them.
I'll just dude, when nobody's in the house, I'll just sit down on the couch and put on the goriest movie I can find and just vibe out with like some snacks. And like by myself, just by myself and just be like, yeah, right in the eye, like just laughing. Like that's my comedy is like the cheesy horror movies. Like Stitches, great
Yeah.
movie. You should definitely go watch Stitches if you haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
Hilarious. Hilarious. It's a clown, so if you're scared of clowns, I'm sorry. But he's it's yeah, it's a good one. It's definitely like a horror com, if you will. I don't know what they're called whenever they're the funny horror movies. Um, but I enjoy them, and but The Notebook is one of those movies that I will sit down and very rarely, probably once every few years, I'll sit down with a box of tissues and just it's a good feel good movie, and I think the hopeless romantic in me, it always like gives me hope, you know like I don't know, but the other ones from Nicholas Sparks, no bueno, no good, don't like them, throw the whole movie away, throw the book away.
Lord.
But The Notebook, yeah, you need to watch The Notebook, but you get ready to cry though, because I don't care who you are, man, female, non-binary, whatever you identify as, you are going to cry to The Notebook. I don't care how tough you think you are. That movie will get you right in the feels. It's the
Nah.
last 5 minutes that'll get you. You're gonna
Nah.
cry. You're
Nah.
gonna cry, Raider.
Nah. I swear to
Hmm.
God, if I watch this movie and I could message you like, yo, I cried.
I swear, I'm gonna put you on blast on my next stream if you do watch it. I'm gonna at you. I'm gonna give you the big shout out too.
Oh
We're
my
like
Lord.
not even the command one, and I'm gonna be like, this man, he cried watching The Notebook,
I'm
and
not gonna cry.
everybody in the chat is gonna be like, dude, I cried too, because everybody does. I don't know. I can go now. I've seen it so many times. I can go the whole movie without crying. And it's the last 5 minutes that'll really just rip your heart out of your chest. I promise you.
Oh my
It'll
Lord.
get you right in the feels. My fiance and I watched it on FaceTime
Oh yeah.
before I moved here. Yeah, we watched it on FaceTime together. It was like our little date night. And it got him right in the feels too at the end. And he was like, I haven't seen this in years. And I was like, that ending will really get you.
Jesus.
Go rip it right out, Raider.
Jesus. I don't have one of those hearts. I don't have one.
Well, it'll rip your soul out then, because you have a soul.
I don't even know if I have that anymore, but we're gonna figure it out. So
You have both.
so this is part of the podcast where you get to ask each other any question we want to. You asked me a question earlier. I'm gonna ask you one back. How do you feel?
Feel in general?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a very open-ended, hard question. Like shit, honestly.
Okay.
Kind of.
What are you gonna do about it?
Nothing.
Why
Cry
not?
about it.
You gonna cry about it? Crying's doing something about it, but Jesus, we just
I
gotta.
cry. I cry all the time. I've already cried like 3 times today. It's
No.
beautiful. It's my favorite pastime. Everybody's always like, "What's your favorite hobby?" And I'm like, crying. Dead ass. I love to cry. I really do. I just love it. And I'm like, I will sit there and I will preach it to the choir. Go on, you go grab yourself a box of tissues and cry. If you can't find anything to cry about or be sad about, put on some sad music. Put on a sad movie. You let it out. My lash girl hates that I cry all the time, but I love it. She always tells me every 2 weeks, she's always like, "You got to start cleaning your lashes after you cry." And I'm like, "Girl, I cry 24/7." She's like, "Then clean them while you're crying."
While you're crying.
That's what she said. That's what she said. I hope she never finds this. Because, like, she hates that I cry all the time because, like, the salt gets in the lashes and loosens up the glue. And
Oh.
she's like, "This is why your lashes are doing this or that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know." And I'm like, "That's because I do be crying all the time." Um, no, that's how I'm feeling like shit. But that's fine. It's no big deal. I think I like most of the time always feel like shit, and then I just kind of like leave it go and not really do or say anything to make it better. Just go feel like shit all the time.
Remember that whole we're gonna start listening to the advice.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah, and
know.
this is gonna be out everywhere, so you're gonna. I can call you
I
out.
know.
I'll make a clip out of this part right here. He's like, I need to actually do as I say sometimes. Yeah.
You need to put a clip and then put it on my Twitch channel so that my followers will come and get me. They always do.
Oh, I will.
The 2 weeks, how long ago was it? It was like almost 3 weeks ago on my mental health check-in day on stream. Um, they turned the whole day around on me. I don't know if you were there for that one.
I don't
They
think I
turned the
was.
whole stream around on me. And they were like, "You're always giving to everybody else, and then like you're always like there for everybody else." And they're like, "It's our turn to make you feel good." Dude, I bawled. I bawled my eyes out. I never post my VODs for Mental Health Mondays, only because I don't want the personal things that people share with me to be viewed back again afterwards. So if you weren't there whenever it happened, I don't want you to, and that's more for like the safety and privacy of like my community. Um, I know that a lot of people post the VODs for mental health, but those aren't people that I would ever go in and openly talk about my issues with personally.
And I completely
You know?
understand that. That
Yeah.
makes sense. It's a
Yeah.
safe. It's to make people feel safe, secure, and not have to worry about the whole backlash of it.
Yeah.
Makes a whole lot of
Because
sense.
once it's out on the internet, it's there forever.
Yeah.
And it's like if I can at least try to minimize it by not posting that VOD every Monday, or now I'm doing it twice a week, um, then I think that that'll at least hopefully help minimize some of that backlash, like you said. But also for me as well, because there's also times where like that day where they made me cry for like 2 hours, and it was like I don't want everybody to sit there and watch me cry for 2 hours. I mean, maybe some people do. Maybe that's what they like, but
Yeah,
I don't want anybody to sit there.
we're
I
not
don't want
talking about
them.
that problem people have.
I know. It's like weird. I don't even know if it's called a fetish. I don't know, but some people like. Some people like it. They like us little emo girls. I don't know.
That's
They're
so
like the sad. They're like the sadder the girl, the better. And I'm like, well, here I am. I'm like, welcome to my life. Here,
Oh
I'm
my
like, pull up a
god.
chair.
Oh
Like,
my
we'll be
god.
best friends.
It's
But
horrible.
that's how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know. How are you feeling?
Mm. Mm. Uh, I'm I'm here, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel kind of doing this makes me feel better, so it's not so bad. So I don't feel out of place. So I feel pretty good right now. But when I
Oh,
turn off this recording, we're gonna see how that goes. I'll message you. It's like, yeah, I feel like shit too.
perfect. No, I'm just kidding. Because
All
I'm
right.
the same way. I feel perfectly fine right now, but then I'm going to shut this off and then I'm going to be like, woe is me. My life is terrible.
Yeah. So.
But you know what? You need to just get one of these mouse pads with me, though. These,
Oh
the
yeah.
Elvira. Because every time I'm like dissociating, I'll just sit here and like squish on her boobies. I don't know. I'm going to get you one.
Oh my lord, that's
So
horrible.
you just sit here, just be like angry and just like squish on it. Like I just sit here sad and just squish it. So you need a squishy mouse
I
pad.
need a squishy mouse pad. Thank you so much for that insight. But thank you very much, Ghosty, for coming in and
Of
showing
course.
me support and actually talking a lot. You were
Of
right. You do.
course.
You said you would talk. You did say you talk.
I'm a chatterbox.
Hey.
I actually was pretty quiet.
Yeah, this time. It's just because you're not running the show right now. That's the only reason why you're
I
so
know.
quiet.
I know. I've thought about doing that guest star thing on my stream though.
Oh Lord.
You know, where we
Yeah.
bring somebody in, Mental Health Mondays,
Oh
like a
yeah.
few people. Oh, I'll be DMing you. You'll be on.
Hey,
You
I'll
owe
be.
me. No, I'm
I'll
just
be
kidding.
there. Yeah, I do owe you. I do owe you. But
You'll have to come talk about it too.
but thank everybody for listening to Join the Raid. We will most likely, like without a doubt, have Ghosty back on here for
Aw.
many other topics to know.
Oh gosh. You don't
And we'll
want to hear
probably
that
talk
stuff.
about Gothic, everything. It's just to make you even happier.
Oh yeah, definitely. We can talk about taxidermy.
Yes, we can talk about taxidermy as well. But everybody, thank you and have a great time.